Namaste. Today I'm going to read book 12, chapter 7 on the Diksha Vidhi, or on the rules of initiation, the Maha Devi Bhagavatam. Vakratu Namakaya Koti Surya Samapprabha. Hariom Tatsat. Narada said, I have heard the 1,000 names or Namastotras equivalent in its fruits to Sri Gayatri, highly potent in making a good fortune and tending to a splendid increase of the wealth and prosperity. Now I want to hear about how initiations in mantrams are performed without which nobody, be he a Brahmin, a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, or a Sudra, is entitled to have the Devi mantra. O Lord, kindly describe the ordinary Samanya and the special Visisa rules thereof. Narayana said, O Narada, listen, I am now telling you about the rules of initiation, Diksha, of the disciples pure in heart. When they are initiated, they become entitled then, and not before that, to worship the Devas, the fire, and the Guru. That method of instruction and religious act and ceremony is called the Diksha, initiation by which the divine knowledge is imparted and at once flashes in the heart and mind of the initiated that knowledge and all his sins are then destroyed. So the Pandits of the Vedas and the Tantras say the divine knowledge is like lightning, fire, arising and permeating the body, mind and spirit. This Diksha ought to be taken by all means. This gives excellent merits and pure results. Both the Guru and the Sishya, disciple, ought to be very pure and true. This is the first initial requisite. Then the results are instantaneous. First of all, the Guru is to perform all the morning duties. He is to take his bath and perform his Sandhya Vandanams. He is to return home from the banks of the river with his Kamandalu and observe Maunam, silence. Then, in order to give Diksha, he is to enter into the assigned room, Yaga Mandapa, and take his seat on an asana that is excellent and calculated to please all. He is to perform Achanara and do pranayama. Then he should take water in his arghya vessel and putting scents and flowers in that, charge the water with Patkara mantra, that is, condense electricity spirit in that. Then, uttering the Pat mantra, he is to sprinkle the water on the doorways of the worship room and begin his puja. Firstly, on the top of the door, at one end, invoke the deity Gananata by his mantra, and the other end invoke Saraswati by her mantra, and at the middle invoke Lakshmi Devi by her mantra duly and worship them with flowers. Then on the right side worship Ganga and Bhignesa, and on the left side worship Kasatrapala and Yamuna, the daughter of the sun. Similarly, on the bottom of the door, worship the Astra Devata by the Pat mantra. Then consider the whole mandapa as inspired with the presence of the Devi, and see the whole place as pervaded by her through and through. Then repeat the Pat mantra and destroy the celestial obstacles as well as those from the middle space. Antariksa, strike the ground thrice with the left heel and thus destroy the tyranny obstacles. Then touching the left branch on the left side of the chaukat, put the right foot forward and enter into the mandapa. Then install the Shanti Kumbha, the peace jar, and offer the ordinary argya, samanyarga. Next worship the Vastunata and Padmayoni with flowers and atapa rice and the argya water on the southwest, and then purify the Panchagavya. Next sprinkle all the mandapa and the entrance gate with that argya water. And while sprinkling with argya water, consider the whole space right through as inspired with the presence of the Devi, and repeat the Mula mantra with devotion and sprinkle with Pat mantra. The Karta then, uttering the mantra Pat, is to drive away all the evils from the mandapa, and uttering the mantra Hum, sprinkle water all around, thus pacifying the atmosphere and bringing peace into the hearts of all present. Then burn the dhupa, incense, inside and scatter vikira, water, sandal paste, yava, ashes, dhurba, grass with roots, and atapa rice. Then collect all these rice, etc., again with a broom made of kusa grass, to the northeast corner of the mandapa, making the sankalpa and uttering svasti, vachana, invocation of good. Distribute and satisfy the poor and orphans with feeding, clothing, and money. Then he should bow down to his own guru and take his seat humbly on the soft asanam allotted to him with his face eastwards, and meditate on the Devi, Ishtadeva, of the mantra that is to be imparted to the disciple. After meditating thus, he is to do the Bhuta Suddhi, purification of elements, and perform Nyasya, etc. of the Diya mantra. The mantra that is to be imparted to the disciple according to the rules stated below, i.e. the Rishi on the head, the Chandas in the mouth, the Ishta Devata in the heart, Bija on the anus, and Shakti Nyasya on the two legs. Then he is to make sound thrice by the clap of his palm, and thus twat off all the evils of the earth and the middle space, and then make Digbandhan, tying up the quarters by the Mudra Chotika 3 times, snapping the thumb and forefinger together. Then perform the pranayama with the Mula mantra of the would-be Ishta Devata, and do the Matrika Nyasya in one's own body. Thus, Om Am Nama Shri Sirasi. Om Am Nama on the face, Om Im Nama on the right eye, Om Im Nama on the left eye, and so on. Assign all the letters duly to their respective places. Then perform the Karanga Nyasya on the fingers and the Sadhanga Nyasya thus. Speak Om Hridaya Nama, touching on the heart. Utter Om Sirasi Swaha, touching the head. Om Sikhaye Vasat, touching the tuft. Om Kavachaya Hum, touching on the kavacha. Om Nitra Trayaya Vausat, touching the eye. And Om Astraya Pat, touching both the sides of the hand, the palm, and its back. Then finish the Nayasa by doing the Varnanyasa of the Mula mantra in those places that are said in the cognate kalpas, i.e. throat, heart, arms, legs, etc. O Narada, next consider within your body the seat of an auspicious asana, seat, and make the nyasya of dharma on the right side, jnanam on the left side, and vairagyam, this passion, on the left thigh, prosperity and wealth on the right thigh, and of non-dharma in the mouth, and of non-jnanam on the left side. Aviragyam, passion on the navel, and poverty on the right side. Then think of the feet of the asana, the body, as dharma, etc., and all the limbs as adharma, non-dharma, in the middle of the asana body, i.e. in the heart. Consider Ananta Deva as a gentle bed, and on that a pure lotus representing this universe of 5 elements. Then make nyasya of the sun, moon and fire on this lotus, and think the sun is composed of 12 colors, digits, the moon composed of 16 colors, digits, and the fire as composed of 10 colors. Over this make nyasya of sattva, raja and tamagunas, atma, antaratma, paramatma, and jnanatma. And then think of this as his Ishta altar, where the devotee is to meditate on his Ishta Devata, the highest mother. Nyasya assignment of the various parts of the body to different deities, which is usually accompanied with prayers and corresponding gesticulations. Next, the devotee is to perform the mental worship of the Deya Mantra Devata according to the rules of his own kalpa. Next, he is to show all the mudras stated in the kalpa for the satisfaction of the Deva. The Devas become very pleased when all these mudras are shown to them. Narada now, on one's left side, erect an hectagon, inside it a circular figure, inside this again a square, and then draw within that square a triangle, and over it show the Shankha mudra. After finishing the puja of the 6 deities and the 6 corners of the hexagon, fire, etc., take the tripod of the Shankha, conch shell, and sprinkling it with Pat mantra, place it within the triangle. Utter then the mantra, Mam Vhanimam Vhaniman Mam Vhaniman Dalaya Dasa Kalatmani Amukha Devya Arghya Patras Tanaya Nama. Thus worshipping the Shankhya vessel, place it within the mandala. Then worship in the Shankapatra the 10 colors of fire, beginning from the east, then southeast, and so on. Sprinkle the Shankha conch shell with the Mula mantra, and meditating on it, place the Shankha conch shell on the tripod, repeating the mantra Om Surya Mandalaya Dvada Sakala Mani Amuko Devya Arghya Patraya Nama. Worship in the Arghya Patra Shankha. Sprinkle water in the Shankha with the mantra Sam Sankhya Nama. Worship in due order the 12 colors of the sun Tapani, Tepani, Dhumra, etc. Utter the 50 syllables of the Matrika in a inverse order, i.e. beginning. See the Sarada Tilaka with Kasham, Ham, Sam, Sham, etc. and repeating the Mula mantra also in an inverse order. Fill the Shankha 3/4 with water. Next, perform in it the Nyasya of Chandrakala and uttering the mantra Om Soma Mandalaya Soda Sakalat Mani. Amukha Dhimtaya Argya Mritaya Nama. Worship in this conch shell next with Ankusa Mudra. Invoke all the tirthas there, repeating the mantra Gange Cha Yamune Cheva, etc. And repeat 8 times the Mula mantra, the basic mantra. Then perform the Sadhamga Nyasya in the water. And with the mantra Harida Naman, etc. worship and repeating 8 times the Mula mantra, cover it with Matsya Mundra, next place on the right side of the Sankhya, the Proksani Patra, the kosa vessel from which water is taken from sprinkling, and put a little water in it. By this water sprinkle and purify all the articles and worship, as well as one's own body, and consider one's Atman as pure and holy. After doing works thus far, until Visargaya is placed, the devotee should erect Sarvato Bhadra Mandala within the altar and put the sali rice within its pericarp. Next, spread kusa grass on the mandala and put on one kurcha, looking well and auspicious within it, made of 27 kusa grass knotted with Vinyarga Granti. Worship here the Adhara Shakti, Pakriti, Kurma, Sesya, Kshama, Sunda Sindur, Mani Mandala, Kalpa Vriksha, and Ishta Devata, and the Pita, Durga Devi, Yoga, Pitaya Nama. Then have an entire kumbha water jar having no defect, wash it inside and with Pat mantra and encircle it with the red thread thrice as symbolizing the 3 gunas. Place within this jar the Navaratna, Navaratna 9 jewels with kurcha and worshipping it with scents and flowers. Put them in the jar, repeating the pranava, and place that on the pitta seat. Next, consider the pitta and kumbha water jar as one and the same, and pour waters from the tirthas, repeating in an inverse order the matrika varnas from ksha to ka, and fill it, thinking of the Ishtadevata and repeating the basic mantra. Put the new and fresh twigs, palavas of asfata, panasa, and mango trees, etc. in the jar and cover its mouth, and place over it fruits, rice, and chasaka, honey, and wrap it with 2 red cloths. Then perform the prana pratishta and invoke the spirit of the Devi by the pranastapana mantra and show the mudras, avahana, etc. and thus satisfy the Devi. Then do the Sopachara puja of the Devi after me, meditating on the Parameshvari according to the rules of the Kalpa. First offer welcome in front of the Devi, and then duly offer the Padya, Argaya, Achmaniya, water, Madhu Parka, and oils, etc. for the bath. Then offer nice red silken clothes and various jewels, ornaments, repeating the Matrika syllables, electrified with the Diya mantra. Worship the whole body with of the Devi with scents and flowers, Next, offer to the Devi the sweet scent of Kalaguru mixed with camphor and the Kashmiri sandal paste mixed with kasturi and various nice scented flowers. For example, the kunda flowers, etc. Then offer the dhupa prepared from aguru, gugula, usira, sandal paste, sugar and honey, and know that the dhupa is very pleasing to the Devi. Next, offer various lights and offerings of fruits, vegetables and fooding. Be particular to sprinkle everything with the water of the kosa. Thus purifying before it is offered to the Devi. Then complete the Anga Puja and the Avarana Puja of the Devi. Then perform the duty of Vesvadeva. On the right side of the Devi, erect an altar, standila 6 feet square, and install Agni, fire there. Invoke there the deity, thinking of her form, and worship her with scents and flowers. Then with the Vyarhiti mantra with Svaha prefixed and Mula Diya mantra, perform the Homa ceremony with oblations, Charu and Ghee 25 times. Next, perform Homa again with Vyarhiti. Next, worship the Devi with scents, etc. And consider the Devi and Pita Devata as one and the same. Then take leave of Visarjana, the Agni fire, offer Valis, sacrifices all round to the Parsvadas of the Devi with the remnant Charu of the Homa. Now again worship the Devi with 5 offerings and offer betel, umbrella, chamara and others, and repeat the Mula mantra 1,000 times. After finishing the japam, place karkari, a water jar with small holes at the bottom as in a sieve, on the rice in the northeastern corner, and invoke the Devi there and worship her. Uttering the mantra Raksha Raksha, moisten the place with water coming out of karkari and repeat the Phat mantra. After re-worshipping the Devi, place karkari in due position. Thus the Guru finishes the Adivasa foregoing ceremony and takes his meals with the disciple and sleeps that night on that altar. O Narada, now I am describing briefly about the Homa Kunda, a round hole in the ground consecrated to the deity, and the samskara ceremony of the Standila, the sacrificial altar, uttering first the Mula mantra. See, fix your gaze on the kunda, then sprinkle it with water and the Phat mantra and drive away the evil spirits from there. Then with mantra Hum, again sprinkle it with water. Then draw within it 3 lines, Pragagra and Udagagra on the eastern and northern sides, sprinkling it with water and the pranava, worship within the pita, uttering the mantras from Adhara Saktaye Nama to Amukha Devi Yoga Pitaya Nama. Invoke in that Pitta the highest one who is Shiva, Shiva with all oneness of heart, and worship her with scents and offerings. Then think for a moment the Devi as having taken bath and as one with Shankara. Bring then fire in a vessel, and taking a flaming piece thereof, throw that in the southwest corner. Then purifying it with the gaze and quitting the portions of Kravyada, impart the Chaitanya by Ram, the Vani Vija, repeat Om over it 7 times. Show then the Dhenu Mudra and protect it by Patkara and cover, veil it with the mantra Hum. Then turn the fire, thus worshipped with sandal paste, thrice over the kunda, and with both the knees on the ground, repeating the pranava. Consider the Agni as the virya of Shiva and throw it on the yoni of the Devi in the pitta. Then offer achmana, etc. to the Devi and worship. Then light the flame with the mantra Chit Pingala Hana Hana Daha Daha Pacha Pacha Sarvajna Jnana Paya Swaha. Then utter the stotra to the Agni Deva with great love, repeating the mantra Agnim Prajvalitam Vande Jata Vedham Huta Sanam Suvarna Varnama Malam Samidham Visvat O Mukam. Then perform the Sadam Ganyasa to the Agni Deva. Om Sahasrar Om Sahasrar Chesi Nama Om Swasti Purnaya Swaha Om Utasta Purusaya Vasat Om Dhuma Vyapini Hum Om Sapta Jivaya Vausat Om Dhanur Dharaya Phat. Repeating the above 6 mantras, perform the nyasya on the heart, etc. The 6 places. Now meditate on the Agni as of a golden color, 3-eyed, seated on a lotus and holding in his 4 hands signs of granting boons, Shakti, Swastika, and sign of no fear. Also meditate on Agni as the seat of the greatest auspiciousness. Then moisten the kunda on the top of the belt, Mekhala, with water. Next, spread the kusa grass all round and draw the Agni yantra over it, i.e. triangle, hectagonic circle, 8-petaled figure, and Bhupura. Rather, have this drawing before the Agni Stapana. Now meditate this only. Then within the yantra, recite Vesvarnara Jata Veda Lohita Ksa Sarva Karmani Sadhava Sadhya Swaha. And worship Agni. Then worship in the center, and in the hectagon at the corners worship the Sapta Jiva, 7 tongues, Hiranya, Gagana, Rakta, Krishna, Suprabha, Bahurupa, Atiraktika. And next worship within the pericarp of the lotus, the Anga Devatas. Then recite the following mantras within the 8 petals. Om Agnaye Jata Vedase Nama. Om Agnaye Sapta Jivaya Nama. Om Agnaye Havya Vahanaya Nama. Om Agnaye Asvodhara Jaya Nama. Om Agnaye Vishva Naraya Nama. Om Agnaye Kaumara Tejase Nama. Om Agnaye Visva Mukhaya Nama. Om Agnaye Deva Mukhaya Nama. And considering the forms to hold the Shakti and Svastik, worship them. Then consider Indra and the other Lokapalas, regions of the 7 quarters, situated in the east, southeast, and so on, together with their weapons, the thunderbolt and the other weapons, and thus worship them. O Narada, next purify the sacrificial ladles, etc., Shuruk, Shruva, etc., and ghee. Then taking ghee by Shruva, go on with the Homa ceremony. Divide the ghee of the Ajyastali, the vessel in which the ghee for the Homa purposes is kept, in 3 parts. Take ghee from the right side and, saying Om Agnaye Swaha, offer oblations on the right eye of the Agni. Take ghee from the left side and, saying Om Somaye Swaha, offer oblations to the left eye of the Agni. Take ghee from the center and, saying Om Agni Soma Bhyam Swaha, offer oblations on the central eye of the Agni. Take ghee again from the right side and, saying Om Agnaye Svista Kriti Swaha, offer oblations to the mouth of the Agni. Then the devotee is to repeat Om Bhur Swaha, Om Bhuva Swaha, Om Swaha Swaha, and offer thrice the oblations. Next, he is to offer oblations thrice with the Agni mantra. After this, O Muni, for impregnation and each of the 10 samskaras, natal ceremony, tonsure, etc., he is to repeat the pranava mantra and offer the 8 oblations of ghee on each occasion. Now here of the 10-fold samskaras. Impregnation, 2. Pum Savan, a ceremony performed as soon as a woman perceives the fetus to be quick. 3. Simanto Tun Nayana, a ceremony observed by women in the 4th, 6th, or the 8th month of pregnancy. 4. Jata Karma, ceremony at the birth of a child. 5. Namakarana, naming the child. 6. Niskramana, a ceremony performed when a newborn child is first taken out of the house into the open air, usually in the 4th month. 7. Anaprasana, when the rice is put in the mouth of the child. 8. Chudha Karana, the ceremony of the first tonsure. 9. Upanayana, holding the sacrificial thread. 10. Godana and Udvaha, gift of cows and marriage. These are stated in the Vedas. Next, worship Shiva Parvati, the father and the mother of Agni, and take leave of them. Next, in the name of Agni, offer 5 samhidas, fuel soaked in ghee, and offer 1 oblation of ghee to each of the Avarana devatas. Then take the ghee by the shruk and covering it with the shrova, offer 10 oblations to Agni and Maha Ganesha with mantras ending in Vausat. The Maha Ganesha mantras run as follows. Om Om Swaha, Om Shrim Swaha, Om Shrim Hrim Swaha, Om Shrim Hrim Klim Swaha, Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Swaha, Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Gam Swaha, Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glom Ityanta Gam Ganapataye Swaha, Om Vara Varda Ityanta Swaha, Sarvajanam Me Vasam Ityanto Swaha, and Anaya Swaha Ityanta. Next, perform in the Agni the Pita Puja and meditate on the Deya Ishtadevata and worship him. Next, offer 25 oblations to his face, repeating the Mula mantra. Then think of that and Agni Deva as one and the same, and then again as one with Atman. Then offer oblations to each of the Sadhamga Devatas separately. Then search for the nadis, veins of Vani and Ishtadevata and offer 21 oblations. Then offer oblations to each of the 2 devatas separately. Next, offer 1008 oblations to the Ishtadevata with till soaked in ghee or with the materials enumerated in the Kalpa. O Muni, thus finishing the Homa ceremony, consider that the Ishtadevata, the Devi, Agni, and the Avarana deities are all satisfied. Then, by the command of the Guru, the disciple is to take his bath and perform his sandhya, etc., and put on new clothes, cloth, and chadar, and golden ornaments. He is to come then to the kunda with kamandalu in his hand with a pure heart. He is to bow down to the elders and superiors seated in the assembly and take his seat in the asana. Sri Guru Devata then would look at the disciple with kind eyes and think the Chaitanya of the disciple within his own, the Guru's body. Then the Guru Deva would perform the Homa and look at the disciple with a divine gaze, so that the disciple becomes pure-hearted and able to get the favors of the Devas. Thus the Guru must purify all the advas, the passages of the body of the disciple. Then the Guru is to touch respectively the feet, generative organ, navel, heart, forehead, and the head of the disciple with kurcha, a bundle of kusha grass, until soaked in ghee, in his left hand, and offer at each touch 8 oblations, repeating the mantra Om Adya Shis Yasya Kala Dvanam Soda Yami Svaha, etc. Thus, the Guru would purify Kaladhva in the feet, Tatvadhva in the generative organ, Bhuvana Dva in the navel, Varna Dva in the heart, Pada Dva in the forehead, and Mantra Dva on the head. The 6 advas, and think these all to be dissolved in Brahmalina. Then again the Guru would think all these to be reborn from Brahma and transfer the Chaitanya of the disciple that was in him to the disciple. Then the Guru must offer Purnahoti and consider the Ishtadevata, placed in the fire by the Visarjana mantra for the Homa purposes, as entered into the water jar. He is to perform again the Vyarhiti Homa and offer all the Amgahutis, oblations, to all the limbs of the fire and take leave of the fire, withdrawing the deity from the jar into his own body. Uttering then the Vausat mantra, he would tie the eyes of the disciple with a piece of cloth and would bring him from the kunda to the mandala and make the disciple offer Puspanjali, flowers in his palm, to the Ishtadevata. Then he would take away the bandage or piece of cloth from his eyes and ask him to take his seat in the seat Kusasana. Thus the Guru, after having purified the elements of the body of the disciple and performed the Nyasya of the Diya mantra, would make the disciple sit in another mandala. Then he would touch the head of the disciple with the twigs, palavas of the kunda, and repeat the Matrika mantra and make him have his bath with the water of the jar, which is considered as the seat of the Ishtadevata. Then for the protection of the disciple, he would sprinkle Abhisheka him with the water of the Vardhani vessel placed already in the northeast corner. Then the disciple would get up and put on the pair of new clothes and besmear his whole body with the ashes and sit down with the Guru. When the merciful Guru would consider that the Shiva Shakti has now passed out of his own body, and that divine force, the Devi, has then entered into the body of the disciple, i.e. charged the disciple with the pass, thinking now the disciple and the Devata to be one and the same, the Guru would now worship the disciple with flowers and scents. The Guru would then place his right hand on the head of the disciple and repeat clearly in his right ear the Maha Mantra of the Maha Devi. The disciple is to repeat also the Maha Mantra 108 times and fall prostrate on the ground before the Guru and thus bow down to the Guru, whom the disciple now thinks as the incarnate of the Deva. The disciple, the devotee of the Guru, would now give as dakshina all his wealth and prosperity for his whole life to the Guru. Then he would give dakshina to the priests and make charities to the virgins, the brahmanas, the poor, and the destitute, and the orphans. Here he is not to be miserly in any way in the expenditure. O Narada, thus the disciple would consider himself blessed, and he would daily remain engaged in repeating the Maha Mantra. Thus I have described to you above. The most excellent Diksha. Thinking all these, you are to remain ever engaged in worshipping the lotus feet of the great Devi. There is no dharma higher than this in this world, for the Brahmanas, the followers of the Vedas, would impart this mantra according to the rules stated respectively in their own Griya Sutras, and the Tantrikas would also do the same according to their own Tantras. The Vedics should not follow the Tantra rules, and the Tantrics are not to follow the Vedic rules. Thus, all the Sastras say. And this is the Sanatan Creed. Narayana said, O Narada, I have described all about the ordinary Diksha that you questioned me. Now the essence is brief. No, the essence in brief is this, that you would remain always merged in worshipping the Parashakti, the highest force, the Mahadevi. What more shall I say than this, that I have got the highest pleasure and the nirvana, the peace, that passeth all understanding from my daily worshipping that lotus feet duly. Veda Vyasa said, O Maharaja, O Janame Jayan, after having said this, Dik Sattva, the highest yogi Bhagavan Narayana, meditated by the yogis, closed his eyes and remained merged in samadhi, in the meditation of the lotus feet of the Devi. Knowing this highest tattva, Narada, the chief of the rishis, bowed down at the feet of the great Guru Narayana and went away immediately to perform the tapasya so that he also might see the Mahadevi. Here ends the 7th chapter of the 12th book on the Diksha Vidhi, or on the rules of initiation in the Mahapuranam Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Vedvyasa. Om Jayanti Mangalakari. Om Tuya Mata, Chapita Tumeo, Tuya Bandusha, Chasaka Tumeo, Tumeo Vidya, Dravinam Tumeo, Tumeo Sarvam, Mamadeva Deva. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.